Hello everyone and welcome to our live for September General Energy Report. So for this September, what I'm going to be doing is we're going to be doing a similar format of breaking it into weeks, but the only thing that's going to be a little bit different is I felt guided to 3 different decks, which isn't really anything super different, but what is different is one of the decks I was guided to was Colette Baron Reed's The Postcards from Spirit, and this is just generalized messages from Spirit. So for each week, what I'm going to do is I will pull one of the postcards from Spirit, then we'll go to the Psychic Tarot, and we'll also go to Colette Baron Reed's The Shaman's Dream Oracle, and just see what other guidance Spirit has for us. So again, kind of a different format, somewhat, to what we are used to. So I'm excited to see how this is all going to work out. So we're going to start with our first technical full week this week, and then of course next week will be our second week, and then we'll go into our third week, and then we might dip into a little bit of the 1st of October. So let's go ahead and let us see what wonderful energies we're going to be working with and what wonderful messages we have from Spirit for the first week of September. So Spirit, what would you like the collective to know for the first week of September? Okay, so before I get to the card, I did see a spirit animal. And the spirit animal that I saw was an otter. Otters to me are about being playful, are about being curious, and not just, the curiosity of just like, I wonder about this. It's more that excited curiosity, that wanting to really explore things, having that childlike curiosity. So definitely be playful, be curious, be in that childlike wonder of just simply wanting to understand how things work, because that's a really big component of curiosity is, we're just curious. We are curious to understand. So if we come from curiosity from that point, think about how that's going to be different than just the normal, I wonder how this works. It's, I wonder how this works, and I wonder how I can work this into my understanding of the world. So our first card for the first week from Colette Baron Reed's deck, and I just will read this directly to you. It says, "Dearest you, going the extra mile to achieve your dreams and putting in some overtime will reap big rewards. Now is the time for you to act, to stir up some energy and to put those plans into action. There are many windows of opportunity that open but close quickly when you don't take the risk and go for it." And I think that's so wonderful as we talk about curiosity, because if we are just curious and say, I wonder what would happen if I decided to take this opportunity. Oftentimes, what we have a tendency to do is we say, I wonder if I take this opportunity, and then we start what psychologists call catastrophizing. We're like, this bad thing could happen and this bad thing. There is that, wonderful saying, what if I fall? But darling, what if you fly? Be curious about that. Have you ever been curious about that? Have you ever been like, I wonder if I did take this opportunity, how would my life be different? Hey, Jennifer, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. It says, today, be confident that your hard work will pay off and you'll feel that satisfaction and fulfillment of reaching your desired outcome. It might turn out even better than expected. Isn't that amazing? Remember, however much work you're willing to put in, we'll match it tenfold on our end. So there's that. Joseph Campbell said, take 1 step towards the gods and they'll take 10 steps towards you. Everyone over here is rooting for you to win the game of life. So just do it. And there's actually a wonderful book by oh, I can't remember her first name. I just remember her last name is Scoville Shin. And it's literally called like The Game of Life. And she wrote a whole book about it. So that is for our first week. So if we look at just this card and we look at just the spirit animal that came through, we're asked to be playful this week. We're asked to be curious, and we're asked to take a little bit more of a risk. And that risk doesn't mean, oftentimes when we hear the word risk, immediately our mind goes to something like terrible, awful, oh my gosh, like this is really big. A risk can simply be taking one step outside of your comfort zone. That can be a risk. So let's see what further messages we have for this first week as we go forward into that first week of, or this first full week of September. Okay. So, we got to have a firm foundation. So we're starting with, again, playfulness, curiosity, being willing to take that risk. And we have to take that quote unquote risk from a firm foundation. It's not about just doing it willy-nilly. And I think that's a kind of a big component of this is it's not about willy-nilliness. Okay. And I know that sounds silly, willy-nilliness. But it is about coming from that firm foundation. And what is that firm foundation? That firm foundation is, I want to achieve this dream, or I am willing to take guided action towards this dream, or I trust that I am divinely directed and divinely protected. If you can come at it from that foundation, everything's going to really be seen differently. And let's go ahead and let's go to our next card here. Ooh, which is the empty well, time to replenish. Okay, so again, curiosity, playfulness coming from that firm foundation. And then, but we're not asked to do it from an empty well. We're asked to make sure that we are full. Now, what are we going to be full with? Full of self-confidence? Sure. But how about full of joy, full of happiness, full of inspiration? And where does that inspiration come from? It doesn't come from you. Okay? Your inspiration comes to you from the divine. So we got to really replenish ourselves this week as well. As we're getting playful, as we're getting curious. Well, what's something new I want to that brings me that joy, that brings me that happiness? Where's that spark of energy? So really looking at that this first week of September, this first full week of September, getting playful, getting curious, looking at your foundation, replenishing yourself, seeing where it is that maybe you've been a little drained, maybe you haven't been as excited, maybe you've kind of been like, I'll put in half of an effort and see what happens. Let's replenish and put in a full effort and see how spirit meets us tenfold. So that's our first week. So that's this week. So let's see what the next week of September is going to hold for us. What is the next week of September going to hold for us? Second week of September. Let's see what beautiful energies we have. Okay, so it says, we actually have two energies here. So our first one says, dearest you, we are a chatty bunch over here, always talking about how to support you in your life's journey. Okay, so I love this because that goes really great with our first card and our other two energies. We are communicating to you through the language of oracles, dreams, signs, metaphors, and omens. In your life on earth, however, clarity in communication is essential to being understood. You don't speak in symbols, and if you did, we would definitely confuse things. Right now, you're facing a situation in which you're being asked to have integrity. Be clear and learn how to ask for your needs to be met. The first step is to admit out loud that you have needs. The second is to ask out loud for them to be met. And the third is to allow the other person, organization, or even us to answer you. When you follow these steps, you can most definitely expect an answer in your favor. Affirmative, or affirm, oh my goodness, affirmative, we say, loving you very, very much. So this second card, I think, goes great with that ending card of filling the well. It's telling us, okay, so you left off with filling the well. Ask us for help. Ask us for inspiration. And then we have our second energy from the postcards from Spirit, which is, do you feel like you need to do all the work and fix everything for everyone, or you might not have value? Maybe you think you need to control everything or else nothing will get done. Be healed, be completed, etc. You may think you need to conform to what others expect of you or choose a course of action to manipulate an outcome. But we don't think that would be a good choice. How about this? Even if it makes you temporarily uncomfortable, so there's that uncomfort we're getting into, do something different. Set the boundary. Delegate responsibility to others. Ask for your needs to be met. And when faced with an impossible situation, sticky or enmeshed relationship, repeat the mantra. I didn't cause it. I can't control it. And it's not my job to cure it. Then carry on. Feels good, doesn't it? The best part is everything just seems to work out beautifully and honestly in the end. Love you so, so much. So with these two cards, both of them are asking us to really get in touch with, again, what it is that we are desiring in this moment, and to be fully present and in our integrity as we go through this. Okay, this isn't about being wishy-washy again. This is about being firm. These are my needs. This is my boundary. This is where no is a complete sentence. Okay? And just acknowledging again, we have to ask for that help. Spirit, guide me, use me, move me in all ways today. But a good majority of the time, if we're honest with ourselves, here's really what we're saying when we say, Spirit, guide me, use me, move me, if we're honest with ourselves, okay? So let's say we're in a situation, and let's say we have a particular outcome we would like that situation to end up in. And here's what we do. Spirit, guide me, use me, move me in all ways today. And what we're really saying, though, is Spirit, guide me, use me, and move me towards the outcome that I want, towards the outcome that I think is best, instead of really allowing Spirit to take that full control and say, okay, Spirit, I 100% give this to you. I dedicate this situation. I dedicate this relationship to your light, to your truth. And I just ask for your guidance, not on how to fix it, not on how to get it done, but I just ask for your guidance. And I'll tell you, sometimes it's the most random guidance. And I will tell you a personal parable from my own life. So I remember when my sister was in high school, she was a freshman. And of course, freshman year, you think you are just, king, queen, of the world. And you could just go out and do whatever because now you're, however old, 16. And so wanting to allow her to have a life, if you will, we weren't really sure, myself, my parents were just kind of like, well, how are we going to do this? Are we going to set up a schedule? Are we going to do this? And, just all of this different stuff. And none of us really knew what to do, including my sister, because she was coming home at, 10:30 at night. And we were just like, well, you can, but, then you got to get up, and there's just a whole bunch of different things. So what we did, I just said, Spirit, I don't know what to do here. I just dedicate this situation to you. And I just asked for your guidance. Done. 3 days later, a schedule just pops in my head. I wrote it down, and I was like, hey, I talked to my mom about it. I talked to my dad about it. Talked to my sister. We all had a little group meeting, and everyone loved the schedule. I didn't come up with that schedule. That schedule was given to me, not because I'm such a good asker, but because I simply asked, and I dedicated it, and I let it go. And it worked out for everyone involved, okay? So let's see what further guidance we have for this second week in September. All right, so our second week, ooh, triumph. I love it. Triumph and success. If we get in tune with spirit and we stand in our truth, we stand in our integrity, we are guaranteed nothing but success. If we truly dedicate the situation to spirit, dedicate it to the light of peace, dedicate it to the light of love, give it to our angels, our guides, whatever you want to say, we are guaranteed that success. And let's see what other energy we're working with for that, for the second week. Okay. Ooh, so we have the stranger with that curiosity. So it's reminding us to stay curious. And when this card comes up, and I guess we could say in this particular way, it's giving us this beautiful invitation to, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, hold on. No. It's my dog. He's trying to lick something off the bed and I don't know what it is. So we have this curiosity again, and it's just giving us that beautiful invitation combined with these other energies. I wonder how spirit's going to support me today. I wonder how spirit is going to assist me. And having that expectation, not the expectation, but having that expectancy that the answer's coming. You don't know when, you don't know where, but spirit's going to guide you towards that. So staying curious about it, not getting so stuck in a particular outcome. Just being like, I want the most peaceful outcome for everyone involved. All right, so let's see, what is our third week of September going to bring us? Third week of September message. I really like this format. I like getting this generalized message and then kind of seeing what other energies come up. It says, dearest you, did you know that when you stop fighting and accept everything exactly as it is right now? Okay, so before we go any further, let's talk about this, because this is definitely a spiritual principle and something like we all hear. Well, just accept what is. Accepting what is doesn't mean that we're just saying, well, this terrible thing is happening. Okay. Instead, we can say, I am currently going through this experience. Okay. I accept that I'm going through this experience. That's where we can come from with this, of accepting what is. I accept that I am in this experience. We're not labeling it a good experience. We're not labeling it a bad experience. We're just saying, this is an experience. Okay. We can accept this is an experience. I accept this experience. I can accept that this experience has been brought to me for my own healing, for a blessing in whatever way. I may not see that right now because I'm in the midst of it. However, if I'm willing to really take that responsibility, my ability to respond to this situation, I'm going to be able to see it. It says miracles start to happen. And why does a miracle start to happen? Well, what is a miracle? A miracle is a shift in perception from fear to love. When we let go of the label of terrible, awful, this, that, and we let go of that story, we are shifting over to a loving perception. It doesn't, and again, just because we're shifting to that loving perception doesn't mean we're like, oh my God, I'm in love with this. No, it just means you're willing not to feed in, to the fearful story. There is a freedom in this, kind of a radical acceptance, letting go of unrealistic expectations, okay? And again, expectation is different than expectancy. Expectation is, this is what I think is going to happen. You have the whole storyline planned out. Expectancy is, good things are going to happen. I don't know when, don't know where, don't know from who or how. I just accept that they're going to happen. And see things as they really are, not how you'd like them to be. You'll be surprised how everything seems to fall into place. When you refuse to accept things, life gets messy. You act messy, and your world stays in chaos, tension, and disarray. But don't try to force a change or manipulate circumstances. Instead, learn about what's in front of you and face it with your eyes fully open. Then you can decide, stay or go, sink or swim, move or stay. Acceptance is key to freedom and opens the door to a real opportunity that awaits to be discovered. Set yourself and others free. Loving you so, so much, always and forever. So that's our third week. And that's talking about accepting what is, moving into that acceptance, letting go of the story and seeing the situation, seeing the experience for what it is, not what you think it is. A good majority of the time, we have a lot of judgments about things. Just be honest with yourself. I still have judgments about things. I will not lie to you. And when I do see those judgments and I acknowledge them, I say, okay, Spirit, I give my judgment over to you. And I ask that you show me a different way of looking at this, or I give this over to you and I could see peace instead of this. That's a beautiful Course in Miracles lesson that I'll go to and say, I could see peace instead of this, or I could see a miracle instead of this. And what I'm saying instead of this is instead of my story, instead of my judgment. Okay. So, and I mean, you can't make this up. This card was just sitting right on top. Surrender. Surrender your story. Surrender your judgment. Stop pushing things to happen and simply allow them to unfold. Rest and rejuvenate. There's no reason for you to push things at the third week of September. Don't push it. There's no reason to push it. You don't need to push it. You just need to really step into the moment, not into the story you're telling yourself at the moment, but into the moment as it is. And with that, there is no sacrifice, okay? Because there's this whole idea of, well, then I'm sacrificing. The only thing you're going to sacrifice is your judgment. And do you really need it anyway? Because how is judging, as I posted last week on one of my posts, how's judgment working out for you? How's that working out? Is it working out great? If it is, fantastic. If it's not, then maybe let's practice a little bit of surrender. Let's practice giving it over to Spirit. And acknowledging that everything is divinely directed and divinely connected. Okay, and now let's go to our, I guess we could call this like the last half a week of September and kind of moving into October. Okay, well, see, because we're halfway in September, but also to October. It looks like we got two energies here. So our first one is, dear you, check in occasionally with yourself about your motives behind your actions, your plan, and the plans that you are taking. Especially when we have an end game in mind. Is the source of your motives and desires or entitlement? Maybe you're drawn to a certain path because you think it'll bring you a feeling related to an outcome you seek, like safety or wholeness or specialness. Know that you will see a reflection in the outer world of your motives that drives you forward. Do you need a motive? Can you simply be pulled in a direction your soul calls you towards? Joy, discovery, growth, adventure, participating in something compelling and meaningful without trying to define it. If you can step forward, surrender to whatever Spirit has in store for you. You will be amazed at how it turns out. Check your motives, then hand them over to Spirit. Everyone over here only wants the best for you. Hello everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. So that is, I would say that's our last card for September. And this is probably, this next card is moving us into October. And it says, dearest you, we are here on the other side and we have an important thing to declare. Love is the answer to literally everything. We don't necessarily mean romantic or erotic love, although they are wonderful, but something above and beyond that. Everything alive in the world was first created by love. Spirit sends love to animate life and birth into existence. Love without condition. It is the basis of all things. Let's see. Goodness, lost my place there. Can you let go of what is not love and ask, what would love do? Love is waiting for you always and forever. So for our last week of September, it looks like we're now asked to really check in with ourselves. We have this, in our first week of September, we have this dream, this desire. We're kind of moving forward with a firm foundation towards what brings us joy, because we've kind of been empty of that and we're willing to fill that well. As we then move into that second week of September, we have Spirit telling us, give things over to me, stay curious, and let's see, what was this one? Oh, and doing something different, something outside of our comfort zone. And then we move over to our third week, which was all about surrender, resting, knowing that all things are exactly as they should be. And then Spirit saying, okay, continue to check in with yourself. See what's going on. What is happening in this last week of September? What motives have you taken? And then with that last card, have your motives been based in love? Or have they been more about what you can get from a situation or what you currently desire? So let's see what other energies we're working with for the last week of September here. Okay, nothing from that one. Let's see if we have anything from the Psychic Tarot that would like to come out for the last week of September, beginning of October. All right, so we're asked to really dive into that spiritual strength, that inner fortitude. And that, again, gives us that invitation to understand that our inner strength, again, it's not that your inner strength comes from you. It's not about that. Oh, unfortunately, I'm not doing personal messages. This is just a generalized energy reading for the month of September and kind of into October. But this spiritual strength, the spiritual strength we have within us is really about, where are we placing our focus? Are we placing our focus on the ego, or are we placing our focus on love, on spirit, on our guides, on our angels? Where is that focus? And, again, this isn't there's no personal cards here. This is just the generalized reading. And this is just kind of the wrap up of the generalized reading for September. But there are no personal cards. If you're interested in a personal reading, you can, of course, go visit my website, awakeningmiracles.org. So for that spiritual strength, it really is about tuning into yourself and saying, okay, where am I focusing? Am I focusing on spirit, or am I focusing on this little I? And who are we focusing on? And that's where you're going to find your inner strength. Because if you're focusing on your little I, you're focusing on your ego, then yeah, your ego has a lot to be afraid of. But if you are placing your focus on spirit, on the I am, then of course you have nothing to fear. And your strength, it comes from a power that is in you, but not of you. And that is something that is very powerful, but it is about, we got to check in for that spiritual strength. And actually, you know what? Let's read a little bit from the book about spiritual strength, shall we? This is from the spirit part of, It says, this card is coming forth to give you encouragement and remind you that you have inner strength, complete. Oh, thank you so much, Wendy. This final card, spirit card, represents courage, discipline, stability, and prestige. You may be tired and weary from the struggle, but now is not the time to give up. Instead, tap in to all of your inner reserves. You've been through so much to get to this point, and even though you may have acquired some scars from the battle, you are wiser and stronger. The enlightenment you've gained will be an invaluable resource. So again, it's just asking us to tune in and really get to the core of who we are. So that is for September. I thank you all so much for joining me and being here with me as I did a brand new kind of way of breaking up the month and doing these messages. It was very fun. I was grateful for it. And yeah, I'm grateful for each one of you that decided to tune in for this September broadcast. And don't forget that if you didn't get to catch it all, no worries. Because, let's see. This will, number one, it'll be on my YouTube channel, which is in the description of the video. And number two, you can also go back and watch it once like it's been uploaded and stuff. So thank you again. And I look forward to speaking with all of you throughout the rest of the week as you see the rest of the week's posts. So come back at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because that is when my posts go out, and you'll be able to see them and see what we're talking about.